Oh my.
Okay, it's 9 a.m. I'll call public safety meeting to order. Roll call, I'm here. Marilyn?
Yes.
Keen? Yes. Katie?
Yep.
Mike? Yes. Jack?
Yes.
Everybody's present. Sorry. Before we get going, if everybody would either silence or turn your cell phones off, I would appreciate it. Okay, I'll go around and check with the visitors and we'll start. Stacy, anything at all? Nothing. Hey, we're almost done. Good. Okay.
On the agenda, it sounds good.
Very good. Anybody, we got anybody on Zoom? Jonathan, I don't see anybody. Okay. All right, very good. Let's see.
Approval of minutes, Mike.
Okay, has everybody had a chance to take a look at last month's meeting minutes?
Yes.
Any corrections or changes to be made? If not, they'll stand approved as read. All right. There we go. Okay, let's start into claims.
Hey, Tipton Systems, $1,032.
Yep.
Dell Marketing, $2,531.92. Safeguard Business Systems, $1,365.73.
With a total of $4,929.65.
Which account was that?
Yeah, what line number do we have on it? 02, 07, 08. Okay.
There's no
Give me
number on it. It just says claims for court document storage.
Okay. That'll work too. Total one more time, Jack.
$4,929.65.
Thank you. That's yours, isn't it? Or is it?
I have one for that's for the account.
It's all right. So this would be the main one.
Okay.
Looks like.
Yeah, that's good.
That's all right. Sheriff, you ready? All right. I think I just saw it. I think it looks like that, Keith.
Whiffley, $1,750.
Yep.
SBM, $72.
Yep.
SBM, $326.69.
Total $2,148.69, and that is Circuit Clerk General Fund.
2148.69.
214869. Yep.
Thank you. Are these valid?
Yeah. All right, that's special funds.
Okay. We got a number on this one, John? No, they're all listed.
General budget items. I like this. You did good.
Are any of these on a special line item, or they all just combined?
That one, you want to keep that separate. That's all out of our special funds.
Okay.
Budget line item. So we're talking about Pumpkins vehicle.
All right. Let's take this one and get this out of the way. I'll let you start, Mike.
These are.
All righty, sure. These were the judges.
Okay, this is for the tow fund. For Joseph Presley, $250.
Yep.
Tow fund for Keesler. Okay, Keesler Supply, $3,936.40.
Yeah.
Yeah. Morley Signs Police Vehicle Fund, $535.
Yes.
Derek Rankin reimbursement from the tow fund, $250. Mississippi Centers, okay, this one is a Rusty fund. It's a different fund. John?
Rusty
Earth to
fund.
John?
A rusty.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, so it was clipped with the others, but is it on your sheet, Mike?
Yes.
Should we put that with special funds though?
Yes.
Okay, $750.
Yes.
That's it.
Kyle Rankin.
One more.
You have
Huh?
Kyle Rankin on the tow fund?
There was a Rankin,
No. Pardon? Derek Rankin.
there was a Derek Rankin.
There's a Kyle.
Kyle's the last line item on that sheet.
Okay. Rankin reimbursement tow fund, $250.
Yeah. Total, Mike, of $5,971.40.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's still under the sheriff.
That's still under the sheriff.
Yeah.
Okay, this is county general.
County General, okay, yeah. We have iFiber for $2,568.75.
Okay,
We have Advanced Correctional Health Care, $6,613.78.
Yes,
We have Jake Amasquita for $39.79.
yes,
Scott Carlson, $16.15.
yes,
Consolidated Correctional, $10,527.14.
got it.
Century Link, $267.55. Got it?
Yep.
Motorola Solutions, $4,675.53.
Good.
Northeast Multi-Regional Training, $225.
Yes,
Northwest Illinois Law Enforcement Executive, $50.
okay,
Secretary of State Index Department, $10.
yes,
Sewing by Deb, $661 even.
Mm,
661.
I don't see that one.
Is there a Wex next to it?
Yeah, Wex is the next one.
Okay. Anything sewing by Deb?
I don't see that because after Wex, I've got Johnson Oil, and that's it.
Okay. Sheriff?
It's not in that packet. I'll find out from Devin where it's at.
It's in the packet, but not on the list.
The receipts are in the packet?
I've got the receipts.
Nothing in there.
But nothing on here.
On the main sheet.
I'm sorry, I'm confused. Do you have the receipts from Sewing by Deb?
Yes.
You do. I've got it on our sheet. Look at the top line on second page.
I'm blind.
Okay, I was confused. I thought you didn't have the receipts. Sorry.
I was flipping this over and I wasn't turning it far. My mistake. I apologize.
Sewing by Deb, 661 even.
I was just flipping it and not flipping it totally. Oh,
Next, Wex, $6,626.09.
feel like an idiot.
6626.09.
Okay,
Johnson Oil, $83.99.
we're good. If I can read things, it's $32,364.77. $32,364.77.
Thank you.
Guess I gotta turn the page the whole way.
Okay. you wanna hand that over to Jack?
Give you something to do.
I mean, I just don't want to sit here and look pretty.
Or maybe you want to, but we're not gonna allow it.
I want to, but I just can't physically.
All right. Answering Innovations, $111.59.
Yep.
US Bank, $3,097.10. CenturyLink, $637.50. Fishers Incorporated, $50. Dr. Mark Peters, 1,500. Sublet Fire Protection, 100. Advanced EMS, 400. NMS, $1,127. And Axis Forensic Toxology for $340.
Yep.
And this is the coroner's claims, by the way. I don't think we mentioned that.
Yes.
Okay, it's $7,363.19.
Thank you.
Mhm. Sir, oops, sorry.
Jack, you want to pass that around to Beautiful over there? Those are all the state's attorneys. I think the general's right on the top there, Katie.
Back to coroner.
Here.
I've got two. I'll do that one.
Please, sorry.
Yeah, sure. Okay. State's Attorney's Office. Deb Dietz, $10. Ms. Warner for $48. Leaf, $495.76.
Yep.
Quill, $120.05. SBM, $534.87.
Yep.
US Bank, $323.67. US Bank, $54. US Bank, $281.70. Verizon Wireless, $98.78. West, $2,136.95. SHI International Corp., $113.50. County Clerk, New York County, $26.
This one should be the general, I believe.
Office claims is all I've got here, Katie. So that first bundle should have been office claims. Then you should have Veterans Court and the other one, OVW. Veterans Court is marked.
Veterans Court's right there.
Oh, okay.
You have one in the packet for OVW.
The only two that were brought to my attention were the general and the vets court, so I'm honestly not
Okay.
sure. It was all just kind of shoved in my hands when I walked over here.
These are public defender claims, I think.
All right, you ready for your total?
Go ahead.
$4,243.28.
Thank you. I have a packet from the wrong department. We'll get it figured out.
As long as we get them in the right pew when we're done. Recording quick.
I am.
Okay. Mowbray, $400. Mowbray again, 125. Mowbray again, 2,000.
Yep.
Rob Taylor, $884. Robert Thompson, 2,700.
Yes.
Mississippi Centers, $634.34. Mississippi Centers, $925.
Yep.
Verizon Wireless, $84.60.
Yes.
You like your total?
Yes, ma'am.
$7,752.94.
Thank you.
Refresh my memory, what is Mowbray again? What do they do?
They provide counseling services.
Oh, okay. Like Mississippi?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I think we got everything there. Did the state's attorney tell you to bless us with anything, or?
Well, he sends his best. Patty in my office did ask me to inform you all that collections from unpaid fines and costs was $10,392.73 for the past month. And I don't have any updated numbers on felonies for you, unfortunately, that I know Charlie typically gives you. But aside from that, no news from the state's attorney's office. So
Okay,
thank
great.
you all for accommodating me. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Will Fox. I'm one of the assistant state's attorneys. So nice to meet you as well.
Nice meeting you, and you're in for store for lots to come. All right, thank you, Will, appreciate it. If you would like to stay, you can. If he
I don't
has,
think we're done with state's attorney claims.
we got another, oh, I'm sorry. I'm chasing you out of here too soon.
Telling me to go and I can't yet. Huh?
We'd
No
find
problem.
you.
I plan on being here.
We'd find you.
On
Okay.
is number 302.
Mowbray, $400.
Yeah.
Another Mowbray,
Okay.
$125.
Yep.
They're doing well by Lee County. And a third Mowbray, $2,000.
Yep.
The one we just did.
Rob Taylor, $884.
This might be a duplicate.
I think these are duplicate. Does that sound
3
exactly?
Mowbrays in a row.
Okay, so we got two
Okay.
I
packets.
may have
of these
accidentally handed you my copies.
things. Well, then we don't need to.
Let's make sure we got it. Like comparing the
Uh-huh.
funds maybe.
That is a dupe.
It is a duplicate.
Sorry about that, folks.
Oh, that's all right.
Okay, now we can chase him out of here. Yes. Sorry, Will.
No, I'm sorry. causing more work for you guys than you apparently need to do.
How long have you been with Lee County?
Gosh, a long time. I've been
Around.
an assistant state's attorney since November of 2016. I started interning when Henry Dixon was still in office. So 2012 was when I first started. So yeah, altogether it'll be 10 years next year. Yeah.
I think we've got probation and judges to do yet, and EMA.
We took care of corners already.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. County General Probation, dependent child care, $4,185.
Yep.
Green Tree Pharmacy for minor meds for detention, $13.74.
Yeah. The first one she mentioned was Kane County Juvenile Justice Center for the 4,185.
Okay,
Total, Mike,
Go ahead.
$4,198.74.
Thank you.
looks like drug court.
Drug court, okay. Redwood toxicology, $105.45. 105.45.
Okay. Next one's US Bank, and it's got three claims.
There
Or
was
three
a
things.
total of 377, and then you took a portion of it off.
I think it's subdivided.
Just, okay. There was the total,
Yeah, that's, this is what we.
but you want the
Correct.
105.45.
Yep.
Okay, got you, thanks.
Sometimes with the meeting, when we go to the third week and then we push it up next week, next month, there's a delay in getting checks out. And that creates a big issue for our vendor because then we get cell phone bills and text bills and show late.
Late fee, right, yeah. Maryland US Bank card,
Yes. Yes.
$528.66.
Yes. For a total of $634.11.
Thank you.
Okay. Which part do you want, Katie?
Whatever you give me, I'll take. Thank
Okay. First one, Jack Scrogstad, $745. SBM, monthly contract meter reading, $79. Road Ranger for fuel, $50.34.
Yep.
Upland Car Wash, $13. Cell phone, Verizon Wireless, $211.50. US bank card, $196.46. 46. There's two things adding together here, a 136.50 and a 159.96 that add to 296.46. You good? Quill for supplies, $171.24. US bank card for training, $133.61. Redwood toxicology for drug testing, $272.42. Redwood Biotech, $3,414 even.
Okay, ready? Sorry.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
$5,386.57.
Thank you. Jack and Joe. Lisa, did you have anything you wanted to add?
The idea,
Sorry, it's not picking you.
Reinforce the idea in the work of probation. So that's been very favorably looked upon. And especially with the pretrial reform that's being pushed forward, there's going to be a lot of changes. I provide you a stat sheet every month in that county board packet. One thing that you'll notice is that pretrial was relatively new back in 2017 with us. And that's a number that continues to be consistently strong on that stat report. We're typically pushing about 200 pretrial cases. This was something that was new to our department. When I started as a director, we created this at the request of the judiciary. So with that and that pretrial reform at the state level, we were able to get a new position within our department. And that's one of those positions that continues to be reimbursed. That's just kind of the direction that we're going. On just a quick note, it sounds like our funding is very favorable. So that's good news for us.
Oh, the chickens. Before.
Exactly.
Thank you.
We know how that works, don't we?
Right. Thank you.
All right, this is EMA, COVID claim. SPM, $71.
Yes.
Procom, $390.
Yes. Total,
Go ahead.
$461.
Thank you.
Ace Hardware, $102.53.
Yes.
Wax, Wax, $94.56.
Yes.
US Bank, $601.89.
Yes. Total,
Go ahead.
$798.98.
Thank you.
Mr. Lally, anything special? I mean, anything not special going on?
Same old stuff, COVID, so it's getting a little bit better. We're still not out of it.
Anybody have any questions for Kevin? I forgot to give Stacy the same opportunity. Okay. Let's take. You can just do that one. There's only one P. Sorry. So you can go ahead and do that one. There's just one there. It's on the public defender.
Public Defender, US Bank, $297.53.
That's the total, isn't it?
In the total, it's $297.53.
Thank you. Okay. They're all the judges, and they're all combined.
Are they, there's two packets, right?
One's probably law library and the other's the county general.
Let's do this one real quick.
Okay, for Matthew Bender, subscription update, $596.62.
Yes.
Mike, did you get that total, 596?
Yeah, the total for.
No, I mean,
Judge.
the other
Acker.
Mike.
Let's just,
Yeah,
give me that one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, it's all one.
I'm
Is
assuming
this
that one
lib-
is law library.
This is library?
I'm guessing it is, check your numbers, but the
Well,
judges should have a law library fund.
I see another one in there for West Payment, which I thought would be the library fund also.
They take it out of different,
Okay, I'll put this under library fund.
okay. So these here are all 001, which would be their county general.
Ready?
I don't even have you've got all the invoices right there. Somebody needs the invoices.
He needs to read them, I
Oh, I
got
gave it.
All right, okay, yeah, go ahead, Mike, I'm sorry.
This county general.
the county general, because
County
they're all
general,
01.
okay. US Postmaster, $275. Psychological Assessment, Inc., $700.
Okay,
Psychological Assessment, Inc., $2,400.
yes,
Dixon Geeson Flesner, $1,013.75.
Yes.
Lori Middleton, $216 even.
Yes.
Lori Middleton, $44 even.
Okay.
Lori Middleton, $1,364 even.
Yes.
SBM, $49 even.
Got it.
EGB and Considine, $500 even. SBM, 178 even. Thomas Murray, 2,655 even.
Got it.
Matthew Finn, 1,300 even.
Yes.
EGB and C, 883.50.
Got it.
Debbie Dietz, $40 even.
Yes.
Sinisippi, $216.92.
Okay.
Dion Horner, $12 even.
Yes.
Dion Horner, $184 even.
Got it.
Oh, so I don't have to, I just do that like that. Okay, sure. Dion Horner, 48 even.
Yes.
Language line, 5408.
Correct.
Dixon Geeson, 2295 even.
Yes.
US Bank, $64.92.
Got it.
US Bank. Have you got 9882, or do you have
I got two, they'll add to that. I got a 5791 and a 4091.
91? Okay, that must add to,
That add to 9882.
yeah, so whether you do one line or two lines.
No, they're in here as two lines, but
Okay. West Payment Center, $518.40.
got it.
West Payment Center, $674 even.
Yes.
Hinkley Springs, $166.39. West Payment Center, $1,104.05.
Okay.
Sinisippi, $334.88. Aubrey, $1,200 even.
Okay, for a total of 18,000. $18,589.71. $18,589.71.
Thank you. Okay, that takes care of the claims. We'll go ahead and go into the old business. And Sheriff, that's under your comment right now for the qualified immunity. Any movement on that or any further decision?
Not yet. Still kind of working through some of the issues.
Want us to table it until next meeting?
Okay, you copy that, Becky. We'll table that for our next meeting. Nope.
Could we back up a minute? Quarterly update on dangerous and abandoned properties. I
I'm
didn't,
sorry, you did have that one.
yeah, I didn't
I
get these in
apologize.
time to add to Becky's agenda, but there is something on the agenda that kind of covers this. I was contacted by a citizen last Friday, and I went out to their home and took pictures of the neighboring properties. There are some abandoned vehicles. There's a home adjacent to theirs. This person that contacted me has a farmland behind and around this house. So they surround this house on three sides. The home has been abandoned for about 14 months. They said February of 2020. There's a ton of garbage, both inside and outside the home. The person that contacted me opened the back door and said, look in. I said, I'm not going in, but I did look in, take some pictures looking inside. They told me there's 3 feet of water in the basement in this home. The garbage is piled outside and inside, and I think everybody on the committee has seen these, but they're hoping it can be condemned. I don't know where it's at financially, if it's in foreclosure or what. The party that contacted me said if somehow the county could do something, this person would be very willing to demolish it and get rid of it if he had the legal right to do that. So I don't know, maybe you want to, did the sheriff want to hand those over to the sheriff? But
Got an address?
it's in Nachusa. I can't tell you the exact address. I think it's off Warren Street, maybe.
1717 Warren Street. Well, it's going to be more zoning and state's attorney as far as looking at what you can do with the property. Abandoned vehicles, we can start working on as well, as soon as you find out who owns them. Well, the health department might be getting involved as well, too.
Well, there's both issues there. There's abandoned vehicles that I've got some pictures of, and pictures of,
I mean, I'll take whatever copies you got. We can start, working with Dee and Will and or at least your
maybe Will
office.
needs to see them too.
Get it off to Kathy Ferguson as well.
I'll hand them to Will. He can get copies.
And just scan them in. We can all just kind of take a look at it, see where we
Sure.
go.
To add to this, Mike and committee, I also went out and looked at this place. I've been doing this kind of work on these vacant houses for over 40 years, and this is probably in the top 10 I've seen bad. There's garbage out there, diapers that have been laying out there rolled up. There is about 2 to 3 feet of water in the basement. You could see that down there. I got a picture of that. The house and all the peripheral buildings are standing open and unsecured. The grass is in excess of a foot tall. Doesn't look like it's been mowed forever.
And the party
The
that
actual,
contacted
I
me
just
said,
got done talking with Dee briefly. She's in the process of calling the health department on it. And I realized that until, you narrow things down, there's not much to do. But hopefully we get it narrowed down. I'll get down to the clerk's office. I think it's mid-mortgage. With that information, I can tell, get the process started. I'm surprised Midland hasn't done something with it, because that's usually what happens. The mortgage company has written in the mortgage that if the property appears to be abandoned, they can go in and clean it up. So, like I say, that's what I've done for a long, long time. And
like I said, the
Pretty bad
homeowner
one,
said,
really.
he's willing to pay to get it demolished.
Yeah.
He has
Yeah.
legal authority to do that, because his property surrounds it on 3 sides. And then there's kind of an alley that should be an entrance to his field that's in front of this house, and that's parked full of abandoned cars.
Would we be able,
I think he's willing to do anything to get the eyesore out of his view.
I was able to view about 4 other properties in Wachusett that really need some serious cleanup. Abandoned vehicles that have been there for obviously 3,
This one,
4
the
years plus.
adjacent homeowner is,
I don't think these are his, I don't think these vehicles actually belong to the previous or to the owner of the property in question. I think it's an adjacent
but
homeowner.
the guy that contacted me is willing to do whatever necessary to clean this up and get it out of his.
I think he would like to buy it, just demolish it, and turn it into a yard.
Clean it up and
Where are we at, responsibility wise or liability wise? If we had, can we ask the property owner to secure if there's 3 feet of water in that basement, that concerns me.
Mold growing up the back wall.
I'm not worried
Slide wall
about
the entrance to the basement.
the mold is important, but the water,
Yeah.
if kids start playing around that like they do sometimes, and I don't know how close it is to the rest of the community out there. Is it rural enough that there's not.
it's at the edge of Wachusett. Would be
Well-
the northwest corner.
Or this, and she's working on the property owner, we can start working that angle and have a conversation with him or her, whoever that is, as soon as we can find him and then kind of see what their intentions are.
It sounds like if Dee or somebody just called and said, would you lock the doors or put a lock on it so nobody can make access, legally
It
make
needs more than
access?
locked. It needs cleaned up and, that trash outside, to me is more bothersome than the vehicles. The vehicles are in violation, obviously, but the trash is going to be attracting rodents and smell.
I'll follow up on it after the meeting, see if I can determine who actually owns the place, and then and if the mortgage company has a number, if I can determine exactly who the mortgage company is. I do have a list of numbers that go directly to the foreclosure department, if it is in foreclosure, and then they may send somebody out to take a look at it. It's not one of the properties I look after.
No way around it. That's what we need.
Yeah, there's some ways you can go around and find out what's going on.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Sheriff, I guess we have new business access card projects, old and new courthouses.
Kind of looking at trying to tighten up security around here a little bit. Card readers, obviously nothing will be done until the board decides whether we can financially do something like that. I am getting some estimates anyway for it. I've talked to a few department heads over here. They seem to be very much in favor of doing something like this. Card access reader has a lot of different options with it as far as setting the timing of the doors, like the exterior doors. So we're open from 8 to 4:30 and Monday through Friday. That door will be open to the public, but as soon as 4:30 hits, it'll automatically lock, so you don't have to worry about keys, which is my biggest concern right now. We've probably got a variety of keys out there since God knows when that people have left and kept and never turned them back in. And I know maintenance has a hard time trying to get into some areas and having a variety of keys on their belt loop. It's kind of antiquated. So, and along with the card reader system, which we've been used to for quite some time, and certainly the new courthouse, if somebody loses a card, it's easy to just get on the computer. As soon as they tell us they've lost a card, and we dismantle it. You can't use it. If somebody finds it in a ditch somewhere or whatever, they can't use it to gain access to the building. Plus, it's going to make the offices a little bit more secure as well. If we put the card readers on the outside, the treasurer's office, the assessor's office, clerks, however we want to work this out. There's more accountability there, so you know who's coming and going based on the usage of the card. Set different times, you can access the building and the respective offices. So I think it will help tighten up security in the long run to do something like this.
Has there been any deactivation of cards that we don't know who they belong to or don't know where they're at or anything?
There's been cards lost in the past, absolutely, and we just deactivated them. We can't be used again. Yeah.
Any further questions on that topic?
To John's point, county has assigned a point person for some of this incoming COVID-19 money. I believe half of it is supposed to be delivered maybe even yesterday or today. I talked to her, and this would qualify or partially qualify for some of that money because of the egress to the courthouse. So we may be able to do some of it without coming out of county general or out of our capital improvement. So all this is still up in the air with where this money can be spent. The guidelines literally are just coming down as of yesterday and today. And so Sarah Leisner over in the state attorney's office has been assigned to do this along with Patty Rodolphe. And so I'll know more, but I don't, as I say, I got 2 emails just this morning on how some of this money can be allotted, and there's teleconferences going on.
This under the COVID-19 funds that you have to
We're gonna
apply
get,
or
county's
make
gonna get
application for?
6.61. What's that? I'm sorry, Mike.
Is this under the COVID-19 funds that you have to make application for?
American Rescue Funds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Drop right into the treasury account. And the guidance, the interim guidance is 151 pages right now. The interim Treasury Department is finishing that up. But it will have specific guidance. Some of it is for businesses to support businesses that are having issues, to support people that are behind on their payments on their loans, rental, things like that. It's a big picture thing. There's a lot of discussion on it, a lot of what I want to do is commend you for being a member of NACO, because NACO is the one pushing all this to the counties. The counties are going to get it dropped in their treasury, the cities are going to have to apply. So, your National Association of Counties is a great job of making this process.
Yeah,
Money well spent.
Yeah. Dixon got some money in an earlier round of some of this money, and they did dole it out. They have an application form, and we're just going to cut and paste with it, make that our application form. Brief conversation Tuesday or Monday morning with Sarah Leisner. And so I would think Kevin would agree that it's still in the formative stages as to who's going to get the money. And $6.612 million, I believe, but we have to dole it out to the other agencies in the county.
No, 6.6 is directly to Lee County.
Yes, but we
Does not go to.
Yeah, we can't just go to Lee County.
What, it comes to the treasury, the other entities, oh, I don't remember the term they used, it wasn't that eligible, but we'll all get their money. So the city of Dixon will get their money, Amboy will get their money, Compton and Papa will get their money, special districts will get their money. So a fire district can apply for funding. So this 6.6 is right.
Right, that's what I just said.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I thought you said it was going out to other agencies.
They have to apply for projects and individuals and businesses and so on.
It would be a bit more business related.
Yeah. Yeah, before, for instance, the county, I believe county got $548,000 directly, which is part of what built your
We
EOC.
had to apply for that.
Yeah, but,
If you're interested, go to the NACO website.
yeah,
And there's a link to it, and you can stay abreast of everything and get the latest information. I'd recommend that's where you go, an ACO.
and bring a thermos of coffee because there's a lot to read.
Nancy's been forwarding a lot of those emails. I've read some of them, but gets tedious.
Time consuming.
Lot to read.
Okay, any questions for the sheriff under the card system?
No.
If not, next topic, retirements and replacement.
Yeah, just to kind of give you a brief summary of what's going on in the sheriff's office. Obviously, we're still struggling with staffing, had some long-term injuries. One has come back, we still have one out. And we've still got 2 young deputies that have, one just went to the academy Sunday, and the other one is slated to go in July. So we haven't carried him through the academy yet, so we can't use him full service at this point in time. We've had a recent retirement announcement for Kim Stewart in corrections. after 27 years, she decided to move on to other things. And Kim's been wonderful back there for us as a sergeant in corrections, and certainly wish her the best. She's going to be leaving at the same time Jared Gator is going to be leaving in civil process on June 25th, so the end of the month. So we've been making a lot of different appointments and positional changes. Olivia Lawson is going back to the jail as of June 7th as a sergeant to replace Kim, and I'm bringing Ryan Pettinger out as the jail superintendent effective June 7th. And he'll be running jail operations. Probably be reaching out to you, Jack, at some point in time or several times to get some historical insight. We just made an appointment to the Detective Bureau to replace Jake Amasquita. Jake is replacing Jared Yater. Follow my train of thought here. Process, and Jason Heller is then going to be appointed as in the Detective Bureau to work with Shane. We just made that appointment yesterday. So there's a lot of shuffling in the sheriff's office right now. I think it's going to be some good things. We got a new, fresh set of eyes in a lot of different divisions, which I think is going to be helpful. And so I'm looking forward to the transition, not looking forward to retirements, because the two that are leaving have done a wonderful job with me for a long time. So it's going to be hard to replace them. So, but we've had time. Appreciate them giving me at least a month or two in advance notice so we can have a transition before they leave.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions in reference to that line item? Okay, resolution amending the Department of EMA to a division of the Lee County Sheriff's Office. Comment on that. And I'll give both of you a chance too, because you guys are going to help us understand what the goal is of this.
I'm the one that instigated this. I'm the one that instigated this. There's just a lot of little paperwork that needs to go on, and a lot of it's internal to the county that I'm not keeping up with very well, and I need support in this office. And when I talked to the sheriff, we discussed that maybe one of his secretaries could provide that part-time support, or hire somebody part-time in the office. Those are the two options, and it really makes sense that there's supervision for my office. Right now, there's nobody that supervises me, pretty much on my own. I report directly to County Board Chairman, so I'm calling him frequently, telling him what I'm doing, what's going on, where we're headed. This 6.6 million, we were in touch initially to make sure we had a plan in place for that. If I'm gone on vacation, gone to a training, off sick, there's nobody that replaces me. There's nobody that can do claims. There's nobody that can do my quarterly reports with the federal government to make sure we're still getting that grant in. So that support's needed somehow. Plus, you know, someday I'm going to walk out of that office and somebody needs to transition into that. So that's what I'm looking at, is the long-term plan. I'm not looking at just the little stuff today. Looking at the long-term plan and what we're going to do and how this is going to transition and continue. Somebody can continue to build on what I've started. So.
From our standpoint, it's a logical transition because when Kevin is gone, like you just mentioned, whether he's sick or off on training or off on vacation, he always he notifies me of things on a daily basis anyway, but he certainly lets me know that. And there's only a few of us within the sheriff's office that know where a lot of his equipment is. So if we have to go operational, something that happens while he's gone, which has happened, we know how to get the command trailer out. We know where his equipment is that we need to use for an incident, and know also his contacts that he uses to help us resolve some of these incidents. So we do work hand in hand quite frequently. So it does seem to be a logical transition to move in the sheriff's office from an operational standpoint too.
Mr. Chairman, comments?
Yeah, I would agree with both of them. I think we need some cross training over there. I think if Kevin was in a car accident tomorrow, I'm sure we could make it work, but there's a lot of stuff that we need to cross train on. There's a lot going on. The board needs to have a tour over there. I mean, to see his room there and everything he's got. I think the more people that are aware of what's going on and we do that, I think the better. If something did happen, we're ready for it.
I had the opportunity talked to Kevin the other day, probably for more time than I should have, because he was out on a call at the time, but he called me back after he got finished on that particular call. I think that if the sheriff has somebody that is partially capable, nobody's going to be as capable as you are right now, but is there what I'm getting at, is there somebody that could possibly start to be mentored toward that area that we can focus on?
That'd certainly be something like Bob was just saying on the training aspect and transition. We'd get a couple people identified to work with Kevin as regular as they can, so that when he is gone, we can start picking up, and at least from an operational standpoint, do some of the things that we need to do during an incident. And from an administrative side, having Lori and Devin with me now may help him with his claims and some of the reporting that he just talked about, without having to hire somebody. We can just see how that goes. But until you make this decision, I don't want to jump ahead of the game to just start doing this, all of a sudden. But we would certainly be receptive to trying to work through some of this, because when he is gone, it's a big boy, bigger than what you think. And because I use him for an abundance of resources when we have our felony Fridays and everything else that's going on throughout the county. And we can't predict those things. We have man-made and natural incidents that could occur at any moment in time. And so he's certainly been a blessing since I've been here, and I'd like to see that continue.
Kevin does an excellent job. He's always updating me on what's going on in the weather. If there's any problems, the train derailment, he contacts me so I know what's going on. His office is a full-time office. I think when he ever gets a date in mind, I think we need to get a mentoring program over there. So whoever's going to take over for him, whether it's 2 or 4 or 3 months or whatever, I think that would be in the best interest of the county if we did it at that point, if we could do it through our budget process.
Budget elements, is the EMA still going to be a separate budget? Is it going to be the sheriff's budget and come out of that, or how are we going to denote that?
Myself, it would be up to the finance chair, but I would put it underneath the sheriff's budget and just a line item, what it is, and we'll pull it out.
We've done that recently with Paula. I think last year we separated dispatch. It's still under the sheriff's budget, but we have separated that in its own category, which we could do just as easily with the EMA.
Yeah, we could pull it out and have it underneath there, and you'd still be able to see everything that's going in and out of that department. So,
I guess a follow-up question, and I don't want this to be taken in the wrong context, but we go back to a one-man position. If that person or woman, whatever the case may be, if that person's on vacation, puts us back in the same scenario that we are now with Mr. Lally. If he was gone, who's going to wear the hat? Who's going to fill in? And down the road, a year or two, whatever, are we going to mentor somebody for backup for that individual? Or is the sheriff going to put the hat on and put a bill on one side and one on the other and take both responsibilities? I'm just saying, are we looking proactively for potential to mentor a backup for the replacement of Mr. Lally?
Yeah, we have to. I mean, right now, the default is me when he's gone. And I think we do need somebody that's starting to work with Kevin at some point in time that, he's ready to hang up his EMA belt. And, but I mean, several months before, there's a lot more going on there that I think we all realize.
We need to take a tour over there and see what he's got. I mean, it's amazing.
I still agree with what you and I commented on here. You had the idea, and I think that was a good idea. Basically, you explained what your thought was as far as not all the county board members realize what we have, who we have, and how it operates. You talked about maybe sending 2 or 3 board members over and participate from there in a Zoom, so that the rest of the board members sitting here or being on Zoom can see what has been accomplished over there.
For our county board meeting, I was thinking about, 4 or 5 going over to Kevin, sitting in there, and they could Zoom from there, and then they could see what you have. It's amazing everything you got and the plans you got in place. I mean, So I think that would, rotate some people that haven't been over there. So just an idea.
Anybody else have any questions?
I see the need for somebody to follow up from Kevin, on Kevin's position. And, I'm not sure putting it under the sheriff's department is the correct way to go. Maybe Kevin needs an assistant. I think he's still only part-time, but I know he works full-time. Does he need a part-time assistant there to cover that knows specific, I hate to put it under the sheriff's department when the sheriff is saying he's short-staffed already. That's my concern there. Maybe we need to invest more in the EMA department. Call Kevin first full-time because he is. Hire him an assistant that he can train that is familiar with everything in his department. So when Kevin goes on vacation, when Kevin is ill, and it happens, we all get sick at some point, there's a backup there. I just don't see putting it under the sheriff's department when he tells us he's short-staffed already. How is he going to pick up these additional responsibilities? That's my concern.
Don't disagree with that plan, Marilyn. I think it's actually a good plan. The problem is when, because as it's been going on since I've been here, I've had to take it over when he's not there. And if something happens in the next 5 minutes, we're both here, thankfully, but if he's gone tomorrow, it's going to happen again. So, if that's the plan, let's get a plan together and move on it rather quickly, because we have no idea when this next incident may happen.
I agree with that. It's something that needs to be done, but, and I don't want to beat the horse to death, but adding more responsibilities to your department just doesn't seem to make sense to me.
Well, we've taken on that responsibility when he's gone, and we work hand in hand together. So it's not, as far as any more responsibilities on a day-to-day, it's not, but because we work so often on a lot of different projects, not just major incidents, but I think it'd be great to have an assistant with him for sure. And then hopefully that person could be somebody that would eventually move into, his position when he is ready to retire. I think Kevin's also looking for some type of supervision along the way, or his department being supervised, and to be able to communicate with someone that understands what he needs and how we operationally work together. It's great that he communicates with the chairman, but the chairman's not going to come out on an incident.
Can, I guess.
He's not going to run the incident, necessarily. So, but yeah, you certainly can. You're welcome to come see the show.
I just think it'd be a seamless transition. Kevin was gone a couple of months ago for 3 days in Wisconsin, whatever it was. And so that put him on call to take over if something happened. I think you need that a seamless transition that we can talk back and forth and work together. And, that's driving this.
I like the idea myself, because the fact that, as the sheriff has already stated, he's overlooked this for a while. And if I might go back more years that the sheriff's been in charge, I'm not correct. All previous years, one way or the other, have been involved with emergency services, one way or the other, either direction and or assistance. The other thing is the fact, let's pool resources here. You're asking, Mr. Lally needs help, there's no doubt about it, and clerical. So how are you going to do that? Are we going to then hire another part-time clerical person that, deal directly with Mr. Lally? Or are we going to use the resources? I know the burden's going to go one way or the other. But I think by the fact that we unite and pool our resources, and I think you're going to have more input from both sides as far as getting things done. Mr. Lally has stated he's had times where he's been gone in that. If you have an assistance, I understand it, but it's going to take a while for us, or not for us, for that assistance to be groomed. It's not going to happen, people, in 6 months. normal thing for law enforcement officers and corrections. People are useful. But after their training, they have to have on-job training to make the decisions. The last I knew for patrol officers, for sheriffs, because they handle a multitude of things, was at least 2 years, if not longer, before they can properly, if you want to put it this way, the sergeant is gone, so you bring up another guy to fill in acting supervisor. And 2 years sometimes is not enough time because you haven't seen everything and handled it. And that's what I'm looking at. And see,
Can I talk to dispatch, please? Sorry.
carry on.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
If Kevin has something that comes up, you can't expect, I just don't feel you can expect another agency, i.e. the sheriff's department, to all of a sudden have to take the responsibility of it, if he's not already a part of it. I mean, that's asking another entity to take over another division of our system here. You know, it's a good thing, we work together in that, but I think my feelings right now, if this is the way to go, maybe things change back down the road, but I think right now it's the proper way to go. Sheriff's got people I know qualified, you got people you can call, you got mutual, but you can't call mutual people on your system to come in and get into your workforce and work with other agencies. I just think right now I feel it'd be a good idea to go that route.
Well, it'd be the cost-effective approach too. So
I guess the obvious thing is, what do other counties do? Similar?
about 50% of the state of Illinois, and we'll just talk about the state, is under the sheriff's office, and about 50% are others. The others, DeKalb County is the coroner, is the EMA director. Let me go historically back. When Senator Bivens was retiring from the sheriff's department is when the office got split. It's when I got offered the job in 2006. The reason was, and Senator Bivens will admit to it, he said, I never did anything with EMA. And back that time it was called EDSTA. Before that it was civil defense. So I was offered the job and handed a set of keys and said, do whatever you need to do to make it work. And we progressed in the last 14 years to build a pretty robust emergency management. We've handled quite a few incidents. We've handled train derailments. We've handled tornadoes. We've handled fugitive Fridays. A lot of responses that happen that are those responses. Not only those responses, but again, you can equate my office more like the health department. We help the whole county. So each city or municipality really doesn't have an emergency management or an ESTA. So when there's a plan that comes in place for 30,000 people coming to Amboy, I'm the guy who helps them plan weeks and months ahead of time how we're going to handle this, how medical treatment's going to happen, if we have a disaster that happens at that time, what our evacuation plans are. All those things kind of fall back to me. Patina Festival, help with the planning on that. So not only is it those responses, those emergency responses, those unforeseen things, it's the planned events that happen too. Gosh, I just forgot about the First Lady's visit. We planned for that too and used our equipment. So all those things that happen fall back to planning. If you could change the name of emergency management, it would be planning. Everything is planning. And to know all that stuff, it's going to take a while for somebody to bring them up to speed. So back to your original question, 50% of the states under the sheriff, the other half is kind of spotty if it's sheriff or if it's coroner's office. Some are maintenance departments. It just depends on the rest of the state. Locally here, Ogle County is under the sheriff. Whiteside County is under the sheriff. Bureau County directly reports to county board chairman. Those are the ones that I'm mostly familiar with in the area. DeKalb County, I told you, was a coroner. He's in charge of EMA. So if that gives you just kind of a quick overview.
Excuse me, anybody else have any questions?
Hey, Mike, I agree with probably 75% of what's been said here. I think the only part that bothers me is the EMA and the sheriff have different duties at a disaster site. And they should have authority that's autonomous to themselves. And if the departments are combined, can they remain autonomous in the case of decisions being made at a disaster site when one's budget depends on the other's budget? That's the only question I would have.
When we declare a local disaster, which we've done before, we did it Woodhaven. We said, so what, I'm getting way down into the weeds on this, but I think I need to explain to you how this happens. If we don't use our resources, we can't ask our neighbors for our resources. So at Woodhaven, we expended all our resources. We started calling the collar counties, expending those. We declared a disaster declaration for Lee County, sent that to Springfield. Springfield blessed that and said, you need some help, let us know. Now we get state assets. State does not have money. We already know that. The federal government's the one that has funding. We didn't reach a federal disaster declaration. What it did, though, is I brought in USART, which is a urban search and rescue team. I got brought in 80 guys for 24 hours. It was over $800,000. That ticket didn't come to the county board chairman because we followed the right process of declaring a disaster. That fell back on the state. The state approved and paid for that. So there's a process. This process is integral to making sure the budgets work. Back to your question, once we declare disaster, all limits are off on the budget. It's in the ordinance, I think it is, that once we declare disaster, it opens up the checkbook and we can start buying without approval to mitigate that current event at hand. So,
No, I understand all that.
okay.
My question was more the autonomous nature of you have certain responsibility. You have to call certain shots.
Okay.
John has certain responsibility. He has to do certain things. If you fall under the auspices of the sheriff, whoever
I see
that
where
may
you're-
be,
Yep.
and you, whoever that may be,
I see where you're
can
going.
you operate individually and stay separate when the budgets are dependent on the other person's budget?
I have no true legal authority to do things like tell you you can't come into the campground.
Oh, no, I
So-
realize that.
So that's why he's the incident commander. He's in charge.
Still on it.
And I support him. So that's my job, is to support him, is to support the fire department. If it's a big fire, I'm there to support them. I don't usually make decisions on what goes on. I'm the support guy, the planning guy, the logistics guy, all combined into one. And when it overcomes me, that's when I call mutual aid. That's when I enact my agreements with local counties, have those people come in.
So the chief authority of the disaster is based on
Oh, what
type
the
of
disaster
disaster it
is?
is.
Yeah, if
Okay.
it's a fire, it's a hazmat incident, he's not gonna want anything to do with a hazmat incident, so he doesn't want to be in charge of that. But what he's gonna do is he's gonna get assigned to be traffic control points to make detours and things like that. The fire chief's the one that's the expert. So there's a principle called RAY, responsibility, authority, and expertise, and that tells who's in charge. So who has the responsibility, who has the authority, and who has the expertise? Fugitive Friday, I have no responsibility, I have no authority, and I'm not the expert. But I was out there for how many days? Supporting the event. And that's my job, is to support the event, not to run the event. So the same way as large wildland fire, I'm not going to be there telling them where to put the trucks, but when they need more stuff, I'll get more stuff for them.
Oh, answer my question.
So Ray is the key principle here. So,
Anybody else?
I just think it's a great idea. Should have done it earlier, sooner.
You want me to go back to the civil defense days?
they had one of those hats from back then.
Mr. Chairman, do you have anything further?
No.
I've kind of had my eyes opened a little bit. I agree with some of the conversation that we've had. I think there's a good point there, but the last example that was just used as far as responsibility and everything, I guess the use of the term fairness isn't probably the most appropriate term to use, but I will, for lack of words right at this minute. When the sheriff, in the explanation you just gave, has the authority to denote who's going to go in, who isn't going to, he will, for a period of time, be busy with that. Who's going to fulfill any responsibility that EMA has if there isn't anybody? And that's what I'm getting at. I can't justify putting the workload. He's got enough of a workload the way it is. And I probably don't even know half of what it is anymore since I've been gone from it as long as I have. I'm not in favor of just totally shifting it to him, because in the interim, when the day comes that you retire, if we haven't done something about it, if we haven't been, as I've said before, proactive enough about it and haven't done anything, as I agree with Mr. Scrogstad's statement, it's a good idea. We need to do something now. I think we need to have just a little bit more conversation, fine tune it, and then move forward with it. I don't have any problem with fine tuning it. Do we have state guidelines, regulations, laws that denote the responsibility of the EMA coordinator, director, however they're going to be titled? And if not, is that something that both of you could come
I'll
up
follow
with?
up with the state. My initial answer is no, there's no issues with it because already 50% of the state's underneath the sheriff. Just for management responsibilities and for that secretarial side, that administrative help is mostly what it's there for. I don't see shifting the duties to the sheriff. I see that it's when I'm gone out of town, you know, all those things we discussed, vacation, whatever, that then there's somebody to fill in for me that has the knowledge that maybe mentor somebody up a little bit on that, make sure that they're aware of, you know, some of the basics. Most of the time I'm within a phone call. We've done that before. I've been out of town, events happen. How do we do this? How do we do that? I'm on the phone, you know, and assisting. So it's not that we're going to push all that whole job description off onto the sheriff. I think it's just somebody there to help with the administrative side of it. And it's somebody to be that backup when need be. But I think we still need to mentor somebody into a new position for this as I move out.
Well, I agree with Marilyn's comment on that. I think that you need an assistant now for whatever capacity that it is so that we can get that process started now. I agree with the sheriff that we, you know, it isn't a yesterday situation. We need to look at it now. We have potential coming down the road that who knows what could break loose and put both of yous in, unfortunately, harm's way, and both of yous wearing the hats at the same time and doing the same thing. I think we need to consider an assistant to come in and help you with the help that you need, regardless of male or female, if they've got the qualifications. I'm in favor of that. Accountability, I understand that, and I agree with you on that. I know how you feel about that. We've talked about that. And that's to be respected, specifically on your part. Does it make you feel unwanted? And I just say that jokingly, you know. But
And, you know, nobody knows when I'm in, when I'm out, what I'm doing, where I'm at, what's going on. And that's good for me, but what about the new person that you hire? Do you want a little bit more, maybe accountability for that new person that comes in? I don't know who that's going to be. So I'm not even picking anybody out saying they wouldn't or wouldn't be. I'm just saying that as a good company, you want to manage your people and know what they're doing. You don't want to micromanage your people. You don't want to go out and do their job for them, but you want to know what they're doing and you know, understand their job. You don't need to know it. You need to understand it, but you need to know what they're doing too.
You know, I said, you know, earlier, maybe you needed an assistant or something. If this would go under the sheriff's department, you know, could we have a sheriff's deputy, you know, basically assigned to be your assistant that is familiar with all the operations of your department? You know, personally, I think this needs to be explored a little further before we're ready to make a decision. But I see the administrative side. I see the need if you're gone. But as I said earlier, I'm not sure putting the burden on the sheriff's department is the way to go. So I think, my opinion, is we need to research it a little further. And I would make a motion that we table this discussion until we have more facts.
My final point will be, it's gonna take a special person to do this because not a lot of people understand National Incident Management System or ICS or like it. And there's a lot of training that they'll have to have within that first year. Once you select someone, they have to have a list of training, and I can get that list of training to you so you're aware of what they need. But it's not gonna be all in-house work. They're gonna have to go to classes. They're gonna have to get certifications and things like that. So,
Well, I think we need to explore all that as we look at this.
and then, yeah, we can talk more and I'll get more specific information for you for what a new coordinator requires.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second. Now, this is to table it, but expedite it at the same time, right? That's the motion.
That was my motion to table for further information on what it would take for an assistant. Could a deputy be assigned as the, just research some more possibilities here. I'm not opposed to this, but I don't want to jump in until we know, how warm is the water.
Sheriff, where are we standing with the potential within, say, the next 30 days, 60 days, if there was to be a member of your department, whether male or female, that was chosen to possibly head in that direction to mentor, become familiar with the responsibilities and everything? Staff-wise, I mean, that could end up being a little consuming also. If you've got somebody that's wearing, two hats or
Three
whatever.
hats, 5 hats as it is,
Right.
I
I mean, I don't want to step into something, we're already, stressed the way it is. If we go that direction right this minute, how much more is that going to stress you? If we're short people, and then all of a sudden we decide, well, we'll pick so-and-so to mentor with Kevin and start to become familiar with that. What kind of limitations or whatever is that going to put on the department?
Well, from a practical standpoint, Mike, I'll just use Jack's words from last meeting. We've all been used to doing more with less. And we will step up and do the job if Kevin's not around. And, but as far as me contemplating assigning somebody to work with Kevin on a regular basis to learn more of his job, at this point in time, I mean, I'm going into budget hearings knowing fully well I'm going to ask for more personnel. And I've told this committee that on several occasions, probably told everybody that for the last 5 years. But we're in dire need of people. We're drowning. And so I can't fathom right now assigning someone to Kevin, knowing what he does and the amount of time that person would have to work with Kevin to try to get up to speed. So my answer right now would be, there's nobody that I can afford to lose right now, even part-time.
As far as tabling this, I mean, we have this resolution in front of us, and it's basically just asking it that the sheriff's office absorbs the EMA office into their table of organization. It has nothing to do with putting the budget, nothing like that in there. It just says for the EMA to report to the sheriff's office. That's what this is saying in this particular resolution that's put in front of us, to pass on to the regular board meeting. I'm for that, so that there is a chain of command, let's say. That's what this resolution is asking for. And we can do the budgets later on, but we could also later on make a recommendation to the finance committee that we put out, give Kevin an assistant and start that process. Whether he goes out and puts online, hey, I'm looking for an assistant for EMA. It's part-time. This is what the salary would be as soon as you put something together. If that's what this committee can do to get things going, let's get her done.
I understand, excuse me, Jack, I understand your position on it, and I partially agree with you on it, but it needs to be started now. And I don't think there's enough definitive information to make the decision to make a resolution and pass it with the unknowns. I think the unknowns have to be brought forward. If we have put a time element on it, 30 days or whatever, the next meeting, I'm in favor of that. It leaves a lot of doors open there, and I would like to see, agree with you, I would like to see Kevin have an assistant. And right now it's untimely as far as the sheriff's department for personnel, and I respect him for making the comment on that. But to just come in and make a resolution to just all of a sudden put it there, I question it. I'm not totally against it at all. I just think we need to have some definitions there, and I think within a 30-day period of time, if we table it until next meeting, I think we can come up with that. I know that both you and Mr. Hudson would probably have some great input on that, but it's, I'm just don't think that we need to pass the resolution right now. I agree with the direction that we're headed with that. Let's fine tune what we can in a 30-day period of time, readdress it at the next meeting.
If we put this to a vote, I would vote to table it for the next meeting, but we need to do something quick. So, I mean, that's, I put this motion to a vote.
I just feel that, yes, table it, but in the meantime, hit up finance. I know you can't do it because their agenda's already set, but at least lay the groundwork to get another assistant of some sort for Kevin.
Absolutely.
Because they're both drowning. I mean, John and Kevin both are hurting for bodies. And I mean, I've watched Kevin and I don't keep up with John, but I just know from the way things are going that things are in bad shape and we probably do need to hire a Kevin an assistant. It's obvious that John can't provide that right now. He's forced to and probably would because there was an emergency, but I think we really need to find some sort of resources to hire Kevin some help.
I think that was my goal in tabling this, that we research getting some assistance for Kevin. Maybe Kevin and his assistant are both under the control of the sheriff, but just putting Kevin under the sheriff doesn't really satisfy the need for a replacement for Kevin when he's gone or when he chooses to retire. I just think we need to research this a little bit more.
Doesn't cure the problem. We need to cure the problem.
Yeah.
I talked to Kevin. I don't know where he told me his retirement ideas, but we're a year, 2 years down the road for his retirement. If you're going to put money somewhere, put it in deputies on the ground and combine the two programs and let them work it out together. Kevin, I don't know if your job needs 1.5 people or 2 people. You need clerical help. He's got the clerical people. I think it's a good marriage of the two and let them sort it out. I have no problem with you tabling it, but if we're going to put money somewhere, we need deputies and detectives.
Well, I understand with that, and I would have to agree with that. I mean, other than hiring an assistant, can Kevin acquire the assistance from your office that he would need for paperwork for the time being? And I'm not pursuing tabling this longer than 30 days. I think we need to have something in place by the next meeting, but I agree with you. The sheriff just can't operate, it's like taking another shovel of dirt out of the hole. You just keep digging.
I think at finance time, I haven't spoke with him, but I think he's got some ideas, I'm sure. And I've got some ideas for deputies and how we're going to pay for them and go forward. Some other ideas.
I mean, if you're both comfortable with the fact that, Kevin reports to you.
Yeah, I have no problem with
you and I added what the three of us have talked about, and then even add what the sheriff has talked about. We're past due. We're way past due. But I agree with you. The sheriff's department needs to be focused on, but can we, in the interim, get him some support or help for the clerical end of it, wherever it is that he needs it? That's what I'm concerned about right now. Accountability, we can add that at the next meeting if we have to. I don't have a problem with that.
So Mike, can I say something? I agree with Jack though. Like the resolution isn't to get more people. It is to have the sheriff absorb the department and work together. He's already doing that now. When Mr. Lally is gone, the sheriffs and his resources are already doing that now. And he wants the accountability, so that's what this is to do. Then we can discuss the resources later in another meeting, I think. I mean, it's already being done now. Mr. Lally just wants some people to have him accountable, which I think is very fair and awesome. And that's all what this is. The discussion about more resources can be brought up later. It's
Well,
already being done.
If you take the basic request at this point is to get Mr. Lally help. It hasn't been a definite determination today, just randomly, we're going to pass a resolution and put him under the direction of the sheriff. So basically, that's not what we need right now. We need help from Mr. Lally, one way or the other, regardless of how we get it. So is the resolution that drastic at this point? I don't think so, because we can always put him under the direction of the sheriff. I'm
Resolution
concerned
makes
about,
sense. I'm sorry, go ahead. I think that's what we're trying to do here. And then he can go ahead and get clerical help tomorrow or whatever we vote this through, or he could. I mean, I think that's our goal here.
Let's look at it from the clerical standpoint too, from a logical, and many of you sitting right there have been in that realm of chain of command and duties assigned. So I've got 2 secretaries right now. One's part-time working with the coroner and they know what their duties are. They know what their job description is. If I'm going to add EMA per this resolution, that will be a logical fit for them to start working with Kevin on his claims and other grant paperwork. If he's not with the sheriff's office, I'm not going to assign other duties. They've already got enough.
okay, you have 2 clerical workers there now, one full-time, one part-time. Half of the time that person works for you and the other half of the time they work for the coroner's office.
Correct.
How could we do that
Job
then?
description.
How can we even bring him in under your jurisdiction and afford him the help that he's asking for right now? And I'm not criticizing you. Don't take that, as my point here. You've already got 2 people that technically are full-time employed.
Mhm.
I mean, one of them is half-time one place and the other, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's fantastic. I forgot that was in place. So I guess my question then is, how do we help him? Putting him under your jurisdiction, unless somebody is hired for that position, there's no way that putting him under here is going to solve that issue. That's what the man needs, is he needs help. That's what I'm
He
concerned
needs
about.
operational help to work with him. He also needs clerical help. This will help with the clerical help because then I can change the job description or add to the job description of the current secretaries, knowing that he is part of the sheriff's office now.
But they're already full-time. We would have to hire somebody no matter what to do the clerical.
Right, that would be
That was
like,
the purpose of hiring,
well,
getting Miss Miller down there at the sheriff's office.
you take a sergeant now, usually if you're short on the road for a road deputy, who picks up the slack? It's the sergeant. Identical situation with both of the ladies that you have down there. You've got one that has one full-time responsibility to the administration and now one that has 2 responsibilities. Are we going to start adding more hats to people and utilizing time that they can't keep caught up on with all they're already in the responsibility for?
He's got no help clerical right now, so I'm trying to give him some. And I think we can work through that with the 2 girls.
We're not talking about having somebody 20 hours a week. I'm not sure I could find something for somebody to do a full 20 hours a week. But to do claims, to do some of these internal reports, I think I could, offhand those to his administrative staff without too much of a burden. It's going to be a burden, naturally, but not too much of a burden. I think they'd be able to handle it. It's something they do now. They already do the sheriff's claims. It's going to be just changing line items and seeing different vendors. I don't think that's going to be a big deal for those people. Easier than bringing somebody new in and teaching them the claims process, to be honest with you.
I understand that, and I understand the direction by the sheriff and everything, and I think that's great, but it's just like putting a 3rd or a 4th hat on your plate, Sheriff, and you having the time, do you think it's proper that we discuss that? Or is that just a responsibility that they have to accept if you designate that responsibility to them? In other words, Mr. Henkel, before he retired from the zoning end of things, we had him strapped. He was like a revolving door for quite a while with everything that we expected or anticipated the gentleman do. Are we putting an employee in that scenario again? I can't see. You've got two good people there right now, and I can't see putting additional responsibilities there with the potential of somebody not being happy with it or receptive towards it. And I'm not trying to tell you how to run your department at all, but I just, you just keep strapping responsibilities to people and we'll lose them.
This committee approved this resolution, I think, in September of 2019. And then it went on to executive and it was tabled and still tabled in executive. So I just thought we'd bring it back to this committee to get another look at it and go from there. We can go to executive, it's tabled there, but I thought we need to all take a look at it and decide what to do. So.
We
Okay.
have a motion on the floor. Marilyn made it and I seconded to table it. But our feeling is to move it at good speed to the next step. Now, I'm assuming this thing is ready for the county, the full board to.
Yep.
Or are we the stopping point at that?
You're the stopping point if you table it here. So.
Till next month.
Till next month. Yeah, sorry.
Is that the right thing?
And I'm thinking I'm changing my idea. So
I
I
think
think
so.
I'd like to call a vote for this.
Should I just withdraw my second? Change it?
A second does not have to vote in favor of the motion.
Oh, okay. Just to open discussion.
Yeah.
I'd like to call for vote on this motion. Yeah.
All right, we've got a motion. I've been through this before and I'm not comfortable with this at all. So I'm going to need some guidance through this, okay? We've got a motion and a second on the table. John, help me out with it.
You have to vote on it. Got to call for a vote, so you need to vote on it.
Okay.
Jack called for the
Do a
vote.
roll
Yeah,
call.
I'm
All
calling.
right, you want a roll call vote or just a vote?
Yeah, a roll call. I think.
Okay.
No. This is, we're going to be voting to table this for the next meeting, this resolution. So if we vote yes for it, we're going to table it. If we vote no for it, we're not going to table it. And then go, and then we,
Have
Then we have another vote.
somebody puts another motion. Yeah.
So a yes vote is the table, correct?
Yes.
Mike Copine,
Yes.
Marilyn Shippert,
Yes.
Dean Hudson, Katie White,
No,
Mike Zeman,
No.
Jack Sprogstad.
No.
4 no's, 2 yes.
make a motion to send it to the board.
I move that we take this resolution in front of us. That,
Well, if the yes vote was to table, then
we need to put a motion to put this in front of the county board
To executive.
for the county, for the executive.
Gotcha.
Put this in front of the executive, this resolution in front of us. So that's my motion.
motion to move to executive.
Any discussion? I'm sorry, Mike.
Go ahead, Jack. You're doing great.
I voted on a lot of things sitting right here.
I just became very proactive. And stick with us, Jack, because I know where this is going.
Sorry. I am very sorry, Mr. Chair.
Oh, I love it. Where are we at? You got your motion, you got a second to
And then we
move it
can
on to,
discuss it some more.
move it on to executive?
So we need to vote on that. I think we passed over the discussion.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Well, we can't put it on executive. It's on executive, isn't it?
It'd be nice to come out of here though with the
It
motion.
would come with our endorsement.
Motion and endorsement or not an endorsement.
the question.
We'll call again.
Do a roll call. Would you please, Mr. Scrogstad, explain what we're doing now? Because you've got me confused, okay? Your motion is to move it on to the executive committee, is that correct? And
That is
seconded
correct.
by Katie.
That is
Okay.
correct.
Roll call vote. Yes means to pass it on and no means not to pass it on.
All right, Marilyn Shippert,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Katie White,
Yes.
Mike Zeman,
Yes.
Jack Scrogstad,
Yes.
Mike Copine.
Yes.
Hopefully by then we'll get the kinks worked out and we'll have a better plan. All right.
What information do you want from me to gather immediately for you guys? I know we talked about new coordinators' requirements. I know there's a job description floating out there someplace. What other information do you need from me that you are in question about?
You know, there's the discussion's been about clerical. How much time is going to be needed for the clerical? You know, and does the employees presently in the sheriff's office, sheriff/coroner, have the time available to fulfill those responsibilities?
I think mainly the clerical is grant you're filling out and paperwork like that. Kevin, is that
Yeah,
correct?
and the internal stuff, vacation, sick time, keeping track of that kind of stuff. The claims.
Sure.
Monthly, things like that.
Still working on COVID stuff.
Okay. I'm sorry, you have a question?
And COVID time.
Yeah, well, all the claims, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, COVID's run out. I guess we've spent all our COVID money. Okay. So this will probably be, well, I know there's one more claim coming after this, but
They can't do it. And you have to propose.
then we'll just have to get somebody to hire in my office. But my goal is to be fiscally responsible here with funding and not, tax the county, because I know that, you guys are kind of at the end of your budgets are pretty full. So I didn't want to do that.
Independent last time to do some of the COVID work. Yeah.
Yep.
Out of my control, come out of the chairman's budget.
Sure. So, okay, I will get those answers to you. When do you need those answers?
You know, if it's going for executive and going to the board, I think maybe just not necessarily answers to here, but answers at the board meeting,
At the board
explaining the whole process.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Sheriff's got something.
Not on this topic, if you're done with this topic, I think we skipped over one thing on the agenda that I just wanted to briefly mention.
That's his fault.
He took over. Jack, is it okay if I bring up?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you. It's entitled, I think, Staffing and Overtime, so we discussed staffing at nauseam.
I apologize. That's my fault. I kind of wrapped in your explanation of being short and everything, but go ahead and highlight.
I forgot about it as well, Mike, but I need to mention overtime.
Yes.
Last treasurer's report I got, which would have been for the end of April. We have expended 70% of our overtime for this fiscal year. It's not bad. So I just need to let you know that.
Okay.
You know that there might be some relief depending on the Treasury Department's interpretation of this America Rescue Plan, that we might be able to use some resources because there is some designation for first responders. So there's a possibility there. I'm not quite sure where it's at yet.
I didn't bring a copy of the executive agenda with me. Is this on as far as him being able to explain again to the executive session tomorrow?
Bring it up.
You're talking about, John, with the staffing or
Yes.
with the questions we had?
No, in reference to what he just pointed out to us as far as staffing and the overtime.
I don't think staffing is on the executive.
He can comment on it, whether it's on the agenda or not.
Okay, we're good to go
I
then.
don't need any kind of motion, it's more for information. I'll be glad to give you more information.
Well, I wasn't going in the direction that I thought we needed a motion on it or anything. I just wanted to make sure that there was something there that would, I mean, he needs to explain it to them so they know what's going on. So, okay.
Becky, did we move to pay claims?
No, not yet.
Is that always at the end or
Yeah,
No.
should be after we look at
after
it.
you look? Okay.
We should do it,
I guess I make a motion to pay the claims for the month.
and I'll second that.
All those in favor, Mr. Third Vice Chair, would you like to comment on? Okay, we have a motion to pay all outstanding claims in a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, the same. So carried.
Jack abstains.
Okay, I understand that, and I appreciate that. Okay, Mr. Will, anything for executive session?
One more thing on the new business.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get everybody out of here too. We do have an appointment or a resolution to appoint Donald Dingus as trustee to the Sublette Fire Protection District, and I would need a motion to so moved by Mr. Hudson, second,
I'll second.
seconded by Marilyn. All those signify in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. So carried. Nothing for executive session.
Nothing's been brought to my attention, sir.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll
All
second.
right, second. All those in favor signify by saying